I'm the Glizzy Gladiator, and this is my stadium, folks, so don't try any of this at home. Whatever you do, don't cook with a laser. I am a shining example of everything you should not do with a laser. This is basically a professional driver on a closed course of sausage here, folks.
Today, we are making some hot dogs.
You know when you're in the zone at work, and all of a sudden you get one of those vivid daydreams where you're floating in a glizzy galaxy, and everywhere you look there's piles of gleaming hot dogs waiting to be cooked, and stuffed between two toasted buns under a pile of onions, bell peppers, and mustard. Me either. But it's obviously lunchtime, and I keep a private reserve of hot dogs in the mini fridge of my station. Back up here. What? Who ate all my hot dogs? Was it you? Was it you? I swear, if you ate my hot dogs, I don't know what I'm going to do next. All right, but I'm watching you. Hey, what about you? You been eating dogs on the clock? Huh? It ain't lunchtime yet. Somebody ate my dogs. Since these glizzy guzzlers obviously got into my secret stash, it's time to kick it old school and make another batch of these bad boys.
Alright, first thing you got to do is you've got to get your seasoning and your curing salts mixed in with all of your meat, because I'm not making garbage dogs. I am going to make some really high quality hot dogs that you'd actually want to eat here. Get a nice mix going. I've actually had this stuff sitting in the freezer for a couple hours to get a good little crust on it. So if you look at it here, it's actually firm to the touch.
Here's a little trick. You want to put your meat in the freezer for a few hours before you start the process, so the bowl chopper can make nice clean cuts and not smush the meat into a paste right away. The first pass here is a coarse grind and mixing stage, where we're just trying to break up the meat and fat and turn them into a cohesive mixture.
Most people think hot dogs are made out of, all of the pork products that nobody wants: snouts, ears, noses, tails. But that's not the case. Most hot dogs aren't actually made out of pork much at all. If you look at the hot dogs you buy in the store. So we got the seasoning in. This is about to get loud. You're really not going to hear from me for a few minutes here. But basically, first step, we're going to load up the bowl chopper and get it cranking, and we're going to start processing this down. We're going to have to do this twice. So first pass, we're just kind of more mixing than anything else. We just want to make sure everything's incorporated evenly in here.
All right, so the next step here is to feed all of this back into the bowl chopper for its final mix and grind. This part of the process is really all by feel. I'm going to keep this thing going until it sticks to my hand without falling off. That's how you know it's ready for the casing, so we can actually turn this beautiful mix into dogs.
So this next step is going to take you a little longer even, and what we're going to do is we're going to grind this stuff down to a paste. And we know it's the right consistency because we're able to put our hand upside down, and some of this mix should then stick to our hand, and that's what we're looking for here. So we're going to get this thing rolling again and finish up this mix and get it ready for its casing and the stuffing process, where we'll actually turn this into dogs.
I'm sharing the traditional method for real pork hot dogs here. See, my grandpa used to go around to local farms and process their animals for them on site. At the end of every day, he'd get paid in cash and all of the drop from the process, which means my dad was raised eating all kinds of weird things like brains, tripe, and sweetbreads. Google that if you feel the need to know more. We've got our mix turned into the perfect consistency of meat, fat, seasoning, so it's time to put all of this into some traditional intestines. The hot dogs you buy in the store are stuffed into some synthetic casing, which I consider really like one step above edible plastic.
All right, we've got our mix now, real good consistency here, and now it's time to actually turn this meat into hot dogs we all know and love. So first step is we're using traditional casing here, which actually means the intestines from animals, which maybe you guys didn't know that, maybe you did, but the hot dogs you buy in the store are usually some kind of a, for lack of a better term here, it's an edible plastic, but this is the traditional method for making hot dogs and sausages. Traditionally you use sheep casing, which is a little bit smaller, but I like big fat hot dogs. If I'm going to eat some meat, I want to go ahead and eat it. So these are going to be a little bit larger than the normal ones you'll see in the store. And we're just rinsing all this off here. They put a little salt and stuff to preserve them. Just like to rinse all that out. Get those soaking for a minute. Then we got our stuffing horn here. So you want to make sure we keep the air bubbles out of here. So as I'm loading this stuffing horn up, I'm going to be trying to toss it into the bottom and burp all of the air out of it. So hot dogs were brought to America by German immigrants in New York City. They set up the hot dog carts, and even back before then, the bun, they say, was invented so that people wouldn't have to give gloves back to the vendor so they could handle the hot dog straight off the street and walk away with it. That's how the buns were introduced. But originally, they were sold by vendors on the street just as a bare. Where did the good old days go, right? Kind of looks like a balloon, right? There's the end. Scoop a little bit of water in there and slide that right on the horn. The best thing about traditional casing is it has a real nice snap to it that you don't get with the modern day store-bought casing you get. There's just something to the texture. I can't say it's really a big flavor difference. They'll just have a real snap to them when you break into them. That water helps this slide right on. So now here's our end. Go ahead and tie a little knot here. Try to get it close to the end so we don't waste any. All right, now it's go time.
Had the laser set up for welding before lunch, which means I was using argon for a shielding gas in this tank right here, just like TIG welding. I've heard you can use nitrogen as well, but I haven't had a chance to try that yet. So for cooking mode, we need to swap this thing over to shop air with a little regulator here. This thing makes some weird lightsaber sounds when you get everything set up right. So let's start making lunch. Dude, this thing is working fast. You see the little burn marks already showing up on the outside of this thing? This dog's gonna be hotter than 2 possums in a wool sock. I wonder how much heat we can pour into this thing before it explodes. The laser operates off of focus light, so the distance can really change the cooking characteristics. It's a little tricky to find the right distance, but once I'm in that sweet spot, things happen really fast. Holy smokes, it's starting to cut through the skin a little bit here, and I can see it plumping up like every single pass I go over it. Oh, bro, it's dripping juices. That's what I like to see. This is a glistening Glizzy right here, my guy. It's cooking really good now. I've got the thing cranked up to 300 watts, which seems to be the happy place for this operation. Oh, I wish I had smell-o-vision. I'm really starting to smell it now. It's a nice mixture of roasted hot dog and burnt metal. 2 of my favorite things. Whoa, that's the fat catching fire here, just like it would on the grill. Oh man, look at that. Look at that. It's cutting through when I get the focus length just right.
Oh man, look at that. It's cutting through.
Now, the next portion of our show is caramelizing some vegetables to put on top. I need some fixins for the hot dog. I spent all that time making these from scratch, so I'm not having no garbage Glizzy in my house. I got onions and bell peppers. Oh yeah, that's what I like. Okay. It's really liking when I hit the pan with the laser, but it's not liking the vegetables. So maybe this laser is a carnivore because it seems to be like bouncing right off the onions, but it's having no problem stripping the Teflon off the bottom of the pan. So it looks like I'm eating a little Teflon with these veggies. All right, last step here. Let's get a bun going. See if we can get a nice toasted bun to hold our delicious creation. Woo! I can really feel the heat coming off the laser right here. Dude, it's just radiating off there. This is crazy. Obviously, just like nice and slow. It's kind of wild how finicky this thing is on the bun. I have to really hold this like the perfect distance away, because if I'm in or out of focus, it's just really not doing anything. Alright, we got our dog, a fresh little pickle here right out the jar, slightly sauteed. I mean, you know, they're warm but not cooked. Grab your mustard, no ketchup. This is a hot dog, not a hamburger. Please everyone, just take a moment to stare at my Glizzy together. Look at that bad boy. We have the first ever laser cooked hot dog. Got some nice laser marks on there. Let's see what we got.
That's what I've needed all day. Okay, one more.
Which answers the question, you can cook with the laser. I mean, hot dogs at least. What should we cook next, guys? You got any ideas? I'm kind of thinking chicken nuggies the hard way, you know? I can show you guys what really goes into those things. Leave a comment down below and let me know while I finish this bite right here. I'm gonna finish this thing. Please hit like, please subscribe, grab your own Glizzy, bring it on down and we'll post it up on the laser. Thanks for hanging out, Laser Cooking with Makertable. If you guys enjoyed this process, learning about how hot dogs are made and a little about lasers, please hit subscribe. We have a whole line of products for the home on our website, makertable.com. If you guys are interested, I'd really love if you guys went over there and checked it out. We have a ton of stuff that's perfect to give as gifts, stuff for the garden, some cool bar stools. You know, if you want to support us, that's honestly the best way to do it. I don't have a Patreon. I don't ask you guys to give me money for nothing. I'd much rather sell you a quality product made right here in Tennessee by real people. Thanks for hanging out. happy making. I'm about to cook another hot dog because I'm still hungry.